Single dad only wanted to check his balance, the fleet commander laughed. Until he saw the screen. The bank hall was cold with polished floors and fluorescent lights humming above, but what froze the air that morning was the look on the fleet commander's face as he burst into laughter, pointing at the single dad standing quietly at the ATM. The commander didn't know the man's name, didn't know his story, didn't know that behind that worn jacket and tired eyes was a history carved with sacrifice. He laughed, thinking the man with the old wallet and patched jeans had nothing worth checking. But everything changed the moment the balance flashed on the screen, and the entire hall fell silent. If you believe the world still holds kindness, second chances, and miracles for those who deserve them, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to channel name. Your support means more than you know. His name was Ethan Reed, a single father of one little girl who was his entire world. He had served in the Navy for 15 long years, years he gave wholeheartedly until a final mission went wrong. A rescue operation in raging waters changed his life forever. He came home injured, medically discharged, and carrying scars not visible to the eye. His wife couldn't handle the weight of his silence and the sleepless nights filled with haunting memories. One morning, she left a note on the table and never returned. All she left behind was their 4-year-old daughter, Lily, with hair like golden wheat and eyes that searched the door for a mother who would never come back. Ethan had nothing after that morning, no job, no wife, no sense of direction, just a tiny hand gripping his finger and a promise he made to himself: he would raise her no matter what it cost him. Life grew harder when the savings ran dry. Ethan worked odd jobs, hauling equipment at the docks, repairing boats, cleaning stores after midnight. He wore exhaustion like a second skin, but every evening, he returned home to Lily's laughter and her tiny drawings taped across the fridge. Money was tight to the point where he skipped meals to ensure she never went hungry. Some nights, Lily would ask why he didn't eat, and he would smile, saying he'd already eaten at work. She would believe him, curling into his arms as he tucked her in beneath a fading quilt. Still, Ethan wasn't a man who asked for pity. Deep inside, he carried a resolve carved by waves, storms, and loss. He lived quietly, humbly, always putting his daughter first. But fate doesn't always mirror effort. A storm hit the docks one night, destroying several boats including the one he repaired for extra income. Work stopped. The bills stacked like cold stones. Lily fell ill that winter, a fever that wouldn't break. Hospital visits drained the last of his account. Ethan sat outside the emergency room waiting area one night, head bowed, whispering to himself that he would keep fighting. He had to. She was all he had. Weeks later, an unexpected letter arrived. The Navy. A fund for veterans injured in active duty. A committee that reviewed old cases. An apology for the oversight made years ago. Benefits approved. Pension awarded. Compensation for injuries. He stared at the words with trembling hands, but he had no idea how much it would amount to. The letter only said funds had been deposited. Ethan didn't dare assume. Life had betrayed hope one too many times. The next morning, he put on his cleanest shirt, still faded, still worn, and walked to the Naval Base Bank branch. Lily held his hand, skipping beside him with a new energy now that she had recovered. Inside, men in sharp uniforms chatted near the counters. Among them stood Fleet Commander Harris, tall, polished boots, medals shining like authority itself. He glanced at Ethan, smirked, and nudged an officer beside him. The look said everything: Ethan did not look like someone who belonged here anymore. Harris laughed loudly when he saw Ethan standing at the ATM, as if expecting a near-empty account, as if Ethan was just a broken veteran hanging onto old memories. Ethan felt the sting, but he didn't raise his head. He inserted his card, hands shaking not from embarrassment, but from fear of disappointment. The machine blinked. Processing. For a breathless moment, the world slowed. Then the numbers appeared. Ethan stared. He blinked again to make sure it was real. the screen showing an amount that didn't look like his life at all. The compensation was enormous. Enough to change everything. Years of unpaid recognition, back pay, pension, injury benefits, and additional grants for Lily's education stacked into more digits than he had ever seen in his life. His knees almost buckled. His chest tightened, emotions flooding through him like a storm he could hardly contain. Behind him, the fleet commander's laughter cut short. Harris leaned forward, suddenly silent, eyes widening with disbelief. Officers who once smirked straightened their backs, awareness sweeping across their expressions. The man they judged could now buy the very building they stood in. But Ethan didn't care about pride or proving them wrong. His first thought was Lily, her future, her dreams, her life beyond survival. He walked away from the ATM slowly, almost in a daze. Instead of turning around to throw the humiliation back at Harris, Ethan knelt beside his daughter and whispered that everything was going to be okay from now on. Lily smiled, small arms wrapping around his neck, unaware that destiny had shifted beneath their feet. Things began to change with quiet grace. Ethan cleared his debts, moved into a modest two-bedroom home with warm walls and sunlight filling the rooms. Lily got her own little pink bed with star stickers glowing on the ceiling. For the first time in years, Ethan bought groceries without calculating prices. He enrolled in therapy, facing the ghosts of his past with trembling courage. His nights slowly softened. Laughter returned to his home like spring after a brutal winter. He didn't seek revenge or attention. Instead, he donated a portion of the money to veteran support programs and funded repairs at the very dock that once fed him. News spread, not of wealth, but of gratitude. The fleet commander later approached him, humbled, offering respect with bowed head rather than arrogance. Ethan accepted it quietly. Life had taught him that dignity does not need volume, it shines through actions, not status. Months later, at a veteran ceremony, Ethan stood in simple clothes holding Lily's hand. He was honored for bravery and resilience, not only in war, but in fatherhood, survival, and selflessness. Lily placed a tiny medal she made from cardboard around his neck, saying he was the best hero she knew. Ethan's eyes filled with tears as the room applauded softly, not for a wealthy man, but for a father who never stopped fighting even when life tried to break him. And now, as this story reaches your heart, I want to ask, if you felt the weight of his struggle and the warmth of his victory, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. These stories live because of you. Before the story ends, please drop a comment below, even a heart emoji, to honor every parent who fights silently, tirelessly, for their children. Ethan walked home that evening under a golden sky, Lily swinging his hand, laughter echoing through the air. He didn't need the world to know his worth. He already found it, in his daughter's smile, in the life rebuilt from ashes, in the quiet peace that finally settled inside his heart. The balance he checked that day wasn't just numbers on a screen. It was hope returned, dignity restored, and the beginning of a life he once thought he'd lost forever.